Hello everyone, SMOLKRS here, and this is everything you need to know about ASKA'S latest update, Animal Husbandry. First up, everyone's favourite nightmare spawn from Helheim, SMOLKRS, can now be captured and domesticated using the new smoker pen building. You'll have to do the capturing part yourself, so go ahead and take a nap first for a nice boost of energy and go grab a few. Yes, they do smell as bad as they look. To capture, just press E or whatever button you've bound it to when in range and bring them back to the pen. Word of warning though, take your archers off duty before bringing SMOLKRS back, otherwise you won't make it into the gate. No, Kyle, no, you didn't do good, buddy. Pens appear to hold up to 6 SMOLKRS, which you can manually fill up yourself as I did here, or go ahead and grab 1 horned male and 1 unhorned female smoker and, you know, just wait for nature to do what nature does best. If while breeding a pen exceeds its slaughter limit shown here in the task menu, then straws are drawn and the bunny that pulls the short straw gets to live at a new farm upstate with all my childhood cats and fish and gerbils and... wait a minute. You can also find feeding rules in the task menu, and this is pretty interesting because SMOLKRS in the wild will eat just about anything, and here in the pen they will eat anything organic, even spoiled food. Gross. Absolutely disgusting. My recommendation is turning off mushrooms as you'll be needing those for cheese, more on that in a minute. I'd also consider bumping up things like flax and blueberry seeds to the top since we get mountains of those laying around the farms anyway. And finally, because I can't delay having to say this any longer, female SMOLKRS in your pens can be smilked for smilk. SMOLKRS can be smilked. Smoker milk. As well as feeding and tending to your SMOLKRS, your pen workers can smilk them for smilk. I give up. I literally cannot say this without laughing. Odin, give me strength. Smilk, or smoker milk, is a new raw ingredient used alongside mushrooms to make
cheese
at the new cheesemaker building. Cheese is a new tier 4 food, which we'll get into in a second, and for anyone who doesn't know, mushrooms spawn when it rains, so make sure to have plenty of foragers' huts with mushrooms on a high priority. The next big change, and honestly this one's important because it has brought my current village to its knees, is the new villager tier and happiness overhaul changes. What this boils down to is villagers fall into certain tiers based on their top proficiency, with tiers ranging from 1 to 4, or I to Ivy. Food also has a tier level, as does clothing, armor, everything really at this point. And I think it's going to take a little bit too much time to explain in this video update, so I'm going to be doing a deeper dive into the new food tier system as well as the happiness overhaul in a future video, so just stay tuned for that. But the too long didn't read or too long didn't watch version is match the food tier with the villager tier. If they're tier 1, make sure they have access to tier 1 food. If they're tier 4, start making tier 4 food. That's basically it. And to help facilitate your production of pies, the devs did put out a hotfix right after the patch that increases the drop rate of eggs. So again, just with your foragers collecting mushrooms, make sure you have foragers collecting eggs on a higher priority. One more great change is that villagers will now apparently, avoid eating raw food unless absolutely necessary, and absolutely no cooked food exists for them nearby. This will certainly help your logistics out and, you know, just not be a pain in the ass, essentially. So, like I touched on a little bit with the food tiers increasing happiness, happiness overall has gotten a overhaul. Villagers now obviously prefer to eat the food that matches their own personal tier. They will take a max happiness hit if they don't get this, making it far more likely they will leave the village, especially if one of their other needs are not being met. You can offset any dings in happiness using the new interior and exterior desirability feature. The comfort level is influenced by your interior decorations, so go ahead and add those armor racks, weapon and tool racks, and room separators, things like that to give that a bit of a boost. Area desirability is influenced by your exterior decorations, this being your water wells, runestones, altars, that sort of thing. Basically, just continue to separate your industry from your housing, build a few pieces of furniture inside and plenty of trees and whatnot on the outside, and you should be fine. Just don't pack your villagers in like sardines anymore. Looking at you, Sphinx. Hunters have also received a slight rework, and I'll go through it in the opposite direction that it's laid out in the patch notes because it makes more sense in my head this way. So hunters can now hunt wolves and bears, which is amazing, but they will not do so unless they have a certain skill level requirement shown here in the task menu. Another tweak to hunters is that you can now prioritize what they hunt by using the task panel here. What this basically means is that your hunters will now hunt all the creatures of the highest priority at the nearest relevant hunter flag before they go over to the next flag to hunt the same prey. They will skip over whatever animals are not marked by the player, nor the ones that feel that they can't bite yet. So this is super handy if you want one hunter, for instance, to focus on gathering hides and pelts, while another focuses on the meat. Being able to target hides will be especially helpful for all the new armor sets introduced, so let's talk about those now. We have 3 new armor sets in the game: chainmail, huskell, and plate. They don't appear to give any benefits for wearing a full set besides badassery points, but definitely factor in looks to your min-max calculations. Aesthetics matter is a hill I will gladly die on. To summarize, armor progression now looks like this: basic linen rags of death, linen gambeson, leather gambeson, chainmail, huskell, and then finally plate being the top tier. Armor and clothing degradation is still a thing, mind you, and in my opinion happens a little bit too fast for comfort, so factor that into your armor smithing plans since these top tier sets are heavy on material costs. And that's it for the headline items. Other changes include UI improvements and optimizations, alleged performance improvements, which, yeah, maybe I think my save is running smoother, but that could also just be new patch placebo effect. And that's everything you need to know about the new Animal Husbandry update. I will be making deeper dives into the new villager food and tier system, as well as the happiness overhaul and hunter changes in the near future. So if you haven't already, grab a sub and stay tuned for those, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio.